welcome to this new episode of Techzine Perspective. We're here with Koen. Obviously, you went to Google Cloud this week, or it was actually last week because we're going to publish this in the week after, but that's not very relevant here. Let's talk about what you found out there, what struck you, what was interesting, what was striking, or whatever. What was your so in general, what was your impression of the event?
It's a lot, to be honest. I'm here at Google Cloud Next when we're recording this a yearly event where they show the most innovations, the new product introductions, etc. It's the same. You've been to AWS before. I've been also, when they do the keynote, every 20 seconds they announce a new product. That's basically what it is. We got like 18 blogs.
If you don't get anything under embargo, it's a lot of typing you have to do.
Yeah. So they had like 18 blogs as an announcement. That was just product, and then they had all the partner things, and I don't know what else. But it is a lot. But mostly if you need to make a summary of what they're doing, is all AI. They're on the AI train big time. Everything they do is AI based.
Surprising.
On the infrastructure side, on the application side, on the model side, it's pretty overwhelming. I think for customers who are here, they're really like, okay, where do we start? Because it's so much.
What's the biggest AI improvement or announcement, or if you have to choose, if it's at all possible to choose between what they announce?
Maybe what they showed me on Tuesday night. They took me to the Sphere. That's the giant ball in Vegas. It's a new kind of theater. Yeah, for people, if you're inside, it's like a baseball stadium, but at the end of the field is a screen. That's basically it. And you can show movies there, you can do concerts, etc. But what they did is they took the movie The Wizard of Oz from 1933, I believe. It's really old, and it's like this big. It's in a 4:3 format. It's in black and white. It's pixelated. And what they did is they used AI to make The Wizard of Oz in 2025 in color on a 16K screen. And
based on only that input and the AI that they throw at it.
Yeah, and they developed a lot of new AI. They are using more than 20 different AI models to generate that. But it's not just upscaling, because basically that's where it starts. You need to upscale this really small image to 16K. But because
that usually works very poorly in my experience.
Yeah. Now they did a great job, I must say. But there's a lot of techniques that are added to it because the screen was so small. They were focusing on the characters and letting the camera move away. But because the screen gets bigger, you can show more of what's happening. So they had they call it outpainting. So you take the image of the movie and then you fill in what's happening around it. So you ask the AI to outpaint what's happening there. And that means that when a character is standing outside of the camera shot, he then comes into the camera shot. But then they have to think about what is the character doing, because now it's in the movie and not out of the movie. So it meant they had to create outpainting LLMs or models to generate that context.
So to have them do something, or to have them walk in a certain direction, or I don't know.
Yeah. So they were watching the movie and they were like, oh, the character is now here, but in 20 seconds he needs to be there. And how do you bridge that gap in the 20 seconds when they're in the movie? So they needed to let a static character walk all of a sudden. And also with all the creative minds, because there are quite a few movie studios involved, and they don't accept everything an AI guy can think of, because when it started moving, the guy from Google told us they were like high-fiving each other. Yes, we got a model and it now moves. And then the movie director said,
basically
this is not good enough.
So basically you went to a film festival. This is something else. And you got a nice gift, right? Show
it. I I got some new shoes from the main character in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, but it is
Also,
nice. It's a nice.
also AI enhanced or not?
No. This is a
Oh,
replica. But hey,
okay.
it's a nice thing. We can edit in our video studio, back home.
Yeah.
Um,
But so
but
what's the
from an
underlying
AI
story?
perspective, yeah, from an AI perspective, they created a lot of models to do video production. And we talked to the CTO of Google Cloud, and he said the new default for video and audio creation is multimodal. And
Hmm.
everyone that's going to work with this is going to expect that they can generate video clips, combine it with audio, uh, translate it, do lip sync, and all out of a box without any hurdles or whatever. And he's telling us they're there. And the
But isn't
outpainting stuff is also becoming available in the next couple months. And all the other techniques they used for the Wizard of Oz, they're gonna make available for everyone.
but isn't all AI or generative AI or whatever you want to call it nowadays, isn't all of that AI multimodal? Because I've also heard, even if you're trying to get the right answer or to questions or whatever, having multiple models increases the accuracy it dramatically. It's very hard to get to 90+%, if not impossible, with just one model. But if you add two or three models to it, you can get from. I'm not sure who told me this, but they had a model. They had a they built something and they used one model and it was 70% accurate. And then
Uh-huh.
by adding two or three models without actually doing a lot to them, they got up to 93, 94%. You're still not at 100 where you want to go, obviously. But I think everything is multimodal nowadays, right? If you want to do it accurately.
Yeah, if you look at from that perspective, it is. But I think what the CTO meant was that you have one model in which you can use video, you can use audio, you can use text, and you can create something and let it work. And I think that's what he kind of meant with the
Okay.
multi-model.
Yeah. So, and there's also
Um,
there was also a new some new hardware. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the most interesting thing, but a new TPU, I think. What's it called again?
yeah, it's the seventh TPU from Google called Ironwood. I believe it's 40% more powerful, energy saving, etc., etc. It's new, it's better, and it brings the cost of inferencing down a lot. Yeah, there were a lot of numbers thrown around, and I don't know them from the top of my head. If you want to know how much better this chip is compared to the previous one, please read it in my article on Techzine.eu. All the numbers are in there. But it is a new chip, and it's a lot better. It's water cooled again, of course. And what I learned is that Google has the most and biggest water cooled data center thing in the world compared to all the others. They're far
Okay.
ahead this effort. And
Did you
it
also
brings the
verify that
efficient.
claim?
Of course not. But the efficiency, the power consumption, the cost are all going down. And that was because there were a lot of questions from other journalists about, um, are you thinking about
Terminology.
power consumption and water usage, etc. And they were throwing numbers like how fast it's going down, and that's also why I said in the video of last week with Atlassian, the cost of AI is going down so fast and it's getting more efficient. Yeah,
Yeah.
they even explained like the model size because they're now at Gemini 2.5. They introduced it this week. Compared to the previous model, the models are getting a lot smaller and more efficient,
Yeah.
but the
We
outcome is
predicted
way
this.
better.
We predicted this a couple of years ago already, so it's good to see that we're right every now and again.
Sometimes. Yeah.
We're also wrong
But I think,
sometimes.
yeah, of course. Yeah. We still don't know when the HD is gonna die. We're still waiting for that. But uh, the other thing that was highly important to me is the agent-to-agent communication and the MCP part. MCP stands
MCP. I keep
for,
hearing that. I keep hearing that all over the place. We
yeah,
recently we
that's the
published a
Model
story.
Context Protocol created by Anthropic and donated to the open source community. It's a new open source standard for AI models to get data out of different sources. It's a client server thing, and they can get data from all kinds of connectors. And that works really well. because
Is it
when you standardize it, it
layer?
means
Is it a
all the
layer
different models can use
standardized?
it.
Is it sort of a layer in between, or is it how does it? Is it only a protocol? So all the
It's a
different models
protocol.
listen to the same protocol.
Yeah, that they talk in the same way to get data out of different sources. And Google has added.
Yeah, do all the what do all these models and all these suppliers and vendors have to do to be able to support it? Do they have to build something in, or is this how do you make
Yeah,
sure that everything is okay?
they have delivered a number of libraries for different programming languages to easily connect the MCP protocol to your existing product. So AI agents can talk to it and get the data in a format they expect, so they can use it more efficiently. And Google added the uh, agent-to-agent protocol, and they donated it also to the open source community. And what that is that an agent of Google can talk to an agent of Salesforce, of Atlassian, because they're also there, and Workday, Oracle, ServiceNow, and many others. They already have like 100 partners in this that are supporting the agent-to-agent protocol, and they threw some numbers
They're
around
not the
that there
first,
are.
right? With this,
I don't know, but they are the first that seem to get the whole industry together. So that's good. The only two missing were AWS and Microsoft.
well, why would that be?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if OpenAI was on the list. I do know Anthropic was on the list, so I don't know yet about those. But it seems like the whole industry is working with this agent-to-agent model, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it also gives an insight on what these vendors expect. Google doesn't expect to be the only one to offer AI, you know. And back in the day, when big tech was announcing things, they wanted to grab the whole market. Now they're saying, no, it's all about multi-cloud and multi-AI and multi-model, and we all need to come together and solve this for the organization. So it's already open. I think that is a good thing. They compared it to what they did for Kubernetes, of course. So they see this as an industry effort.
And did they say anything about? You mentioned multi-cloud. Did they say anything about the interconnects between them and competing hyperscalers, or because that's something that you see there's more and more openness in the in the hyperscaler world, right? So even Oracle and AWS are working together now, which is if you said that for 5 years ago, people would have said you were completely crazy. Did they mention anything about that kind of openness?
They have a good relationship with Oracle. I can say that because Oracle is here giving demos. Oracle is also on the list for the agent-to-agent protocol. But I think the world wherein AWS, Google, and Microsoft are going to work together in any way, those three, it's going to be really hard. I don't see it happening anytime soon. They do it on a basically they do it on Kubernetes because they have to. But I don't see many joint efforts in other technologies where they're working together. You see, they respect each other to a certain level.
Yeah.
But them working on the same innovation, I don't know. I think there's too much competition.
And what about something that you hear from other vendors now quite a bit about quantum? What's Google Cloud story on quantum and quantum safe and all that stuff? Did they mention anything about it?
No, there was no focus on quantum computing. We know they released that chip a couple months ago, and but quantum is not really a topic here at this moment because there's so much AI. And maybe there is somewhere in the background or some smaller session I didn't see that it's possible. But their focus is really on AI and what they're doing on that front. There's also a lot of attention for Google Workspace. Um, to me, I had a podcast interview with the head of Workspace, and I really asked her a bunch of questions that were pretty skeptical and critical about their competition with Microsoft 365 because they're really going head on now. They really want to take market away from Microsoft. And I asked the question I think everybody has. Like, why don't you do desktop apps? Why don't you try to compete on the Windows desktop, or why do you keep everything online? What's going on with Google Chat? That's still a bit of a product. I don't know, but she was really open, and she explained like this is our vision, and this is how we work towards the workspace we envision, and the strategy behind it, all the options that are coming in there. So it's definitely worth a
Yeah.
listen.
And do they see AI also playing a key role here in taking market away from the likes of
I
Microsoft?
I think that's the key differentiator in Google Workspace, because Microsoft is doing the Copilot 365 thing. You have to pay, I don't know the euro price, I believe it's $30 per user per month. So it's probably 28 euros or something.
Or just 30?
And Google, yeah, but it is a lot. If you
Yeah.
have 100 employees, it's $3,000 a month. It's not cheap. Of course, they will be more efficient and they can work better, etc., etc. But it's a lot of money. What Google did, they did a giant strategy shift a couple months ago. They raised the prices of all their workspace subscriptions by $2 per user per month, and they included all the AI. And
That's a lot cheaper at least.
yeah, and everybody has to pay for it, so everybody's using it. And what I learned is they didn't have a lot of what do you call it, backlash from their customers about the price increase. It was kind of accepted. I also asked how sustainable is this pricing model? Is Google making money on this? Because otherwise, organizations might step in and then
Mhm.
see a huge price increase in the next coming months or years. And they said, no, this is a viable option for us. We're still making money. This is okay, and
Well,
we
I mean,
keep.
especially if what you say is true, is that it becomes much cheaper to run AI very quickly now, then that answer makes sense, right?
Yeah, and it's really efficient, and how they do it. I even asked if she's developing new AI products within the suite. If she gets like feedback like, "Okay, do it a little less because it's too heavy on the AI machines." And no, more AI. That's the only thing
Okay.
she's sharing. Not less
And what do you
AI,
think?
more AI.
And what do you think based on that conversation? Will Google be successful?
I think so, because it is a very interesting proposition, especially if you see all the features they're adding. They're doing refine on your text. They're now doing text analysis. So if you've written a document, they will give you tips how you can improve your text, because we write every day almost. So we are pretty good with text. But if you're a sales manager and you send some emails a day, or you're doing HR work and you need to
Do we
write
know
a
all
very
about that?
critical email to someone, yeah, yeah, but they will help those people improve their text. I think that's very important. And sometimes, especially Dutch people like us, we can be a bit rough on our text. It's maybe too direct, and AI can help you bring the message across a bit more subtle. Um, and those are things that really help, but also that it's integrated into the suite, that when you're doing a Google Meet, you get a summary automatically of the conversation, and the topics you spoke about, the appointments you made, or the things you're
Mhm.
going to do next week for a customer. It helps. And yeah, I think it's a strong proposition, but they need to convince organizations in the end. I don't know if that's going to work. That's something they have to figure out.
I think it's very hard to convince a Microsoft-oriented organization to switch workspaces. Basically, that's you need a very good reason, and then first of all, the AI needs to be that good that's sort of a reason to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then even still, you need to convince maybe. Shall I say, old-fashioned managers to actually do this. Because it also means you need to reskill your entire because it's not the same platform. It's a different platform. So if for example if you have 6,000 people working for you and you say, well, we used to work on Microsoft and now we're going to work on Google, you can expect a lot of pushback and a lot of backlash from your people.
Especially if you have employees that have been working with Outlook for 20 years, and then you're going giving them Gmail.
Yeah,
That's a big switch.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, but
it's
in the end,
worth considering maybe.
yeah, and And I think the fact that they do everything from the browser, and even their docs and spreadsheets and presentations and stuff, it's different than working in a desktop app. I asked why they don't have desktop apps only for the chat and for Meet, and they said, yeah, it's more from a security perspective. There is nothing saved offline. So if your laptop gets stolen, your data is safe. So it's from a security perspective.
Yeah,
Some
even though
organizations will be open to that, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Sometimes I worked on a Chrome OS Chromebook for 3 months last year, and if you fly and you don't have internet access, it's actually quite hard to to work in your browser. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. But you have an
Yeah.
offline mode, right, on the Chromebook?
Yeah, you have, but you need to even though the files are there, you need to say before you take off that you want them in offline mode while you're still online, because otherwise, yeah, yeah. Oh, I kind of need that document. Oh, I forgot to make that available offline. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Maybe that's changed. I mean, this was about a year ago or more over a year ago. But it is quite a big and maybe security can be a good reason. Some data privacy. On the other hand, browsers themselves aren't completely safe either, right? So stuff can happen
No, that's
in
true.
browsers. But yeah,
When I
but I think
one final
we need to start
thing.
wrapping up because now we're starting to
Oh,
bore
okay.
people. I think it's 23 minutes. Do you have one last thing that you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say?
They introduced their own ARM CPU last year. You remember that? They're now moving all Google Cloud services, the web things, they're all moving into their own ARM chips because it's
Right.
faster, cheaper, more efficient, etc. And they're telling me it's a huge success and we can expect more on the CPU side. So what Amazon
Yeah.
did with their Graviton, Google is doing it with their Axis, I don't know, remember what the name was.
But I mean, but
Something
then
like that.
also, I mean, if you look at it, because it's such a big company, and if they win X amounts of investment on that front, then the $2 extra, which is much cheaper than what Microsoft does, is also easier to give to people, right? Because if we save a lot of money there, we don't have to make it over there, so you can actually move around.
That's what I
Yeah,
asked about the Workspace thing. Are you losing money on this? And they said, no, we're still making money on the Workspace.
yeah,
So
yeah. So, okay. All right. No, I think there's and you're probably going to write a lot of stories in the next couple of weeks.
I think we already put like 8 articles up, and there are more analysis for me coming, and 2 podcasts. One about Workspace, one about Kubernetes.
Okay.
We even didn't talk about Kubernetes. I did a whole podcast on Kubernetes, especially for you.
Yeah, I love it. I dream Kubernetes now. Yeah. Okay. So, thanks for this. I hope
Yes,
the viewers learned something from it. I think so.
let's hope
There's a
so.
lot of interesting insights in there. So
It's our perspective at least. Huh?
yeah. Well, it's our perspective. All right. Thank you.
Okay.